Hello students, welcome to the lecture on security of information, and after this lecture we will be able to learn the following objectives. Understand about security management and control, discuss about internet networked security, describe the encryption technique, understand the firewalls, explain the virus protection and email monitoring, define the security code and biometric security. First of all, let me explain what security of information is. Information security is the process of protecting the availability, privacy and integrity of data. While the term often describes measures and methods of increasing computer security, it also refers to the protection of any type of important data such as personal diaries or the classified plot details of an upcoming book. No security system is foolproof, but taking basic and practical steps to protect data is critical for good information security. Using password is one of the most basic methods of improving information security. Unfortunately, passwords are not foolproof, and hacking programs can run through millions of possible codes in just seconds. Let us discuss about security management and control. They satisfy the requirement of the Federal Information Security Management Act (FISMA) and meets or exceeds the information security requirements established for executive agencies. Today's information systems are complex assemblages of technology, that is hardware, software and firmware, processes and people work together to provide organization with the capability to process, store and transmit information in a timely manner to support various missions and business functions. The degree to which organizations have come to depend upon these information systems to conduct routine, important and critical missions and business functions means that the protection of the underlying system is paramount to the success of the organization. The selection of appropriate security controls for information system is an important task that can have major implications on the operation and assets of an organization as well as the welfare of individuals. 10 security controls are the management, operations and technical safeguards or countermeasures prescribed for information system to protect the confidentiality, integrity, including non-repudiation and authenticity and availability of the system and its information. The guidelines have been developed to help achieve more secure information system within the federal government by enabling more consistent, comparable and repeatable assessment of security controls with reproducible results, facilitating more cost-effective assessment of security controls, contributing to the determination of overall control effectiveness, promoting a better understanding of the risk to organizational operations, organizational assets, individuals, other organization and the nation resulting from the operation and use of federal information systems, and creating more complete, reliable and trustworthy information for organizational officials to support risk management, decision, reciprocity of assessment result, information sharing and FISMA compliance. The term spam describes unsolicited electronic messages sent in bulk. Spam is most frequently seen as email but is increasingly being employed via short message service, SMS or text message, computer instant message, IM, and by telephone. Spam emails often direct the recipient to an external website, but it can serve as a vehicle for malware dissemination or phishing scams. In this manner, spam is also increasingly used as a tool of the aforementioned no prescription or rogue pharmacies. Spam is very common. Message lapse. Intelligence recently reported a global ratio of spam in email traffic of 75.8%, which correspond to 1 in every 1.32 emails received. As spam levels increased by 2.9 percentage points over the previous month, the Russian Federation became the most spammed country in the world with a spam rate of 82%. Malware is the term for the broad range of software with malicious or fraudulent intent. Examples of malware include computer viruses, dishonest adware, spyware, shareware, Trojan horses, and worms. Consequently, a high percentage of computer owners purchase cheaper and more often than not pirated version of software and operating system that not only leaves their machine vulnerable because they are nearly impossible to update, but also because they are themselves another likely source of viruses. Phishing scams involve email messages that falsely claim to be from an established, legitimate business organization but are designed to steal your identity. These emails either ask the recipient to send their private information, such as passwords, bank account numbers, medical insurance registry numbers, and credit card details via email, or direct the recipient to a website where they are duped into providing these data. Encryption refers to algorithmic schemes that encode plain text into non-readable form or ciphertext, providing privacy. The receiver of the encrypted text uses a key to decrypt the message, returning it to its original plain text form. The key is trigger mechanism to the algorithm. Until the advent of the internet, encryption was rarely used by the public, but it was largely a military tool. Web browser will encrypt a text automatically when connected to a secure server, evidenced by an address beginning with HTTPS. The server decrypts the text upon its arrival, but as the information travels between computers, interception of the transmission will not be fruitful to anyone listening in. They would only see unreadable gibberish. There are many types of encryption and not all of them are reliable. The same computer power that yields a strong encryption can be used to break weak schemes. Encryption can also be applied to an entire volume or drive. To use the drive, it is mounted using a special decryption key. In this state, the drive can be used and read normally.
What is encryption? Think of encryption as a safe, a virtual safe. A safe where there is only one key. And you are the only one in the world who has that key. You can put files inside the safe, and you can remove files from the safe without anything being damaged or changed. If you lose your encrypted files or someone steals them, no worries. No one else can open your files because they don't have the key. Now, you may wonder, is it possible to hack encrypted files? Well, imagine a network of over 100,000 computers. It would take them 1.3 quadrillion years to guess an encryption key combination by brute force. Encryption is secure. Encryption is key.
Simple algorithms can be easily broken using modern computer power, and yet another point of weakness lies in the decryption method. Even the most secure algorithms will decrypt for anyone who holds the password or key. Symmetric types of encryption schemes use a single password to serve as both encrypt and decrypt, or supplying the encryption key, one can mount the drive and work in an unencrypted state, then return the drive to cipher when finished. A firewall is a system of computer hardware and software that provides security to the computer network of an organization. It is generally implemented at every point of contact between the network and the outside internet, and as such, it filters all data packets going in or coming out of the network. A common practice is to let the flow of outgoing data packets pass unrestricted and unchallenged while filtering the flow of incoming packets according to a predefined set of rules called the rule base. A data packet that matches a rule in the rule base is allowed to pass through the firewall into the network. The remaining packets are considered unsafe for the network and hence are discarded by the firewall. A firewall is defined as any device or software used to filter or control the flow of traffic.
Your computer has thousands of ports that can be accessed for various purposes, such as a hacker trying to see your confidential information, like a credit card, for example. The firewall will act as a first line of defense in preventing a hacker from entering your network. The hacker will look for any opening ports in a computer's network that can be accessible, so you need a firewall. They can keep confidential and valuable information from being accessible, as well as prevent specific traffic, like music sharing. It can also modify the data packets that come across the security system, called a network address translation. Firewalls can prevent unauthorized modification of data on a website and ensure system availability, as well as other features. A firewall's job resembles a physical firewall that keeps a fire from spreading from one area to the next. A firewall is a program or hardware device that filters the information coming through the internet connection to your computer. So, if an incoming packet of information were to come with flags by the filters, the firewall will not allow the packet through. A company, for example, will place a firewall at every connection to the internet and give the firewall security rules to implement for their system. One rule could be that one computer out of every 300 computers inside the company can receive FTP traffic. Firewalls use one or more of three methods to control traffic flowing in and out of the network: packet filtering, proxy service, and stateful inspection.
Before exploring the individual firewall functions, it is important to understand and comprehend the nature of a packet. When data needs to be sent from one place to another, that information must be converted to a packet. A packet is a small piece of information written in binary form that, when translated at the receiving computer, will be converted back to the original file. If the information is too large for one packet, several packets are made to equally split up the information into smaller pieces. These packets would then be combined and converted to its original form at the receiving computer. For example, you want to send a message to your friend on their computer. Let's say their IP address is 5.6.7.8, while your address is 1.2.3.4. And you decide to type in, "Let's study for a data communications class." Then you click send. As you can see in the diagram, that message, after being converted into a packet, moves through the transmission control protocol layer and the internet protocol layer to determine who the message is being sent to. Then, the packet moves to the hardware to reach the internet. From here, the packet will reach the destination computer, be converted back into the original message, and displayed on your friend's computer, all usually in less than a second. Now that we understand the nature of packets, let's talk about firewall. How are these two related? Well, data that is harmful to your computer or personal and financial information can be sent from hackers using the same method as explained earlier. To prevent this from happening, firewalls monitor and inspect these packets, also known as traffic. They also reject any suspicious or unauthorized content from accessing the computer. This firewall technique is known as packet filtering. In addition to packet filtering, there are a few more ways in which a firewall can help protect your computer. These include stateful inspection firewall and proxy server firewall. Each of these mechanisms has its drawbacks as well as its advantages. Packet filtering is generally faster and easier to implement, but is susceptible to attack from users faking their source IP addresses or source port to trick your firewall into thinking that your traffic should be allowed through. To beef up packet filtering security, stateful packet filtering was introduced. Essentially, a stateful packet filter performs the same as a packet filter, but with a couple of added measures. First, it looks at more details from each packet to determine what is contained within the packet rather than simply who and where it is from. or in our case, allegedly from. Second, it monitors communications between the two devices and compares the traffic not only to the rules it has been given, but also to the previous communications. If any communication seems out of context or out of the ordinary based on previous traffic, that packet is ultimately rejected. Last but not least is the proxy server. A firewall proxy server is an application that acts as an intermediary between two end systems. Firewall proxy servers operate at the application layer of the firewall, where both ends of a connection are forced to conduct the session through the proxy. They do this by creating and running a process on the firewall that mirrors a service as if it were running on the end host. Information from the internet is retrieved by the firewall and then sent to the requesting system and vice versa. These functions are generally recognized by the National Institute of Standards and Technology. It is important to remember that while firewalls are useful for the protection of your business or personal information, they are not the only level of security needed. It is equivalent to having your front door locked but your windows wide open. Firewall security should be a layer of protection and not the solitary guard against malicious invasions. Virus protection and spyware protection, and other levels of support that when used in conjunction with firewalls provide the best barrier for your network.
There are three types of firewalls: packet level firewall, application level firewall, and the network address translation firewall. We need a brief description of network address translation in order to understand what the network address translation firewall does. The network address translation is used to map the private IP addresses of individual computers on a local network to a single IP address, and this would be the network address translation address on the internet. Most providers use this to remap their end consumer IP addresses to the internet. A network address translation firewall is a piece of equipment or software that makes the bridge between the local network and the internet, and it makes all the connections appear to be from the network address translation address. The network address translation firewall translates the private IP addresses by using an address table. IP addresses inside the organization are translated into proxy IP addresses that are used on the internet. Packet-level firewalls examine the source and destination addresses that are in each network packet as it passes through the firewall. They are also used as an initial screen for the network that is devoted solely to providing public internet access. A packet-level firewall protects an internet network against unauthorized access and attack from a public or external network by blocking some packets. Packets may be blocked based on source IP address, destination IP address, source or destination, TCP, port number, or other packet header fields, time of day, or user authentication. Filtering is carried out on a packet-by-packet basis, and the entire packet-level firewall may be implemented on a router. Normally, all filtering happens inside the operating system, which makes this type of firewall very fast. The application-level firewall searches for known attacks by searching through the application layer's contents. The application firewall limits access by applications to the operating system of a computer. An application firewall offers additional protection by controlling the execution of files or the handling of data by specific applications. Application layer firewalls improve the overall security of the application infrastructure by preventing attacks that are likely to cause a service outage or cause structural damage to data sources. Application layer firewalls are generally remotely updatable, which allows them to prevent newly discovered vulnerabilities. These firewalls are often more up-to-date than specific security-focused code included in applications due to the longer development and testing cycles required to include such code within applications. Application layer firewalls functions in one or two modes, passive or active. Active application firewalls actively inspect all incoming requests, including the actual message being exchanged against known vulnerabilities such as SQL injection, parameter and cookie tampering, and cross-site scripting. Only requests that are deemed clean are passed to the application. Passive application layer firewalls act in a manner similar to an intrusion detection system in that they also inspect all incoming requests against known vulnerabilities, but they do not actively reject or deny those requests if a potential attack is discovered.
The next thing we're going to talk about is firewall applications in business. First thing you think about is, where do you need security? It's important to quickly identify where the risks and security gaps exist at your business. You can answer these 5 questions to help determine if you need business class security. The first question, does your business have enough protection against internet threats? Threats like botnets, spyware, viruses, Trojan horses. Blocking them involves more than running antivirus software on individual computers. Second, do you safeguard your business critical data? All data stored in laptops, PCs, servers, smartphones, and even USB sticks should be securely stored and backed up at all times. Next question, is the internal business information that your employees need to do their jobs readily available to them, wherever they're working, whenever they need it? And do you control who can access specific types of information? This is important because you don't want employees that don't need to see certain information to be able to see it. Next, is your property and your employees protected by video surveillance? If not, this is important for the safety of everyone and to help understand what happens if something goes wrong. Next thing, if and when you give visitors Wi-Fi service, or when you share your applications on your network with your business partners, do you control their access? Are you sure that passers-by and neighbors cannot use your wireless network? This is important because if someone has easy access to your network, it would be much easier for them to steal business-critical data. If you answered no to any of these questions, you do need business class security. This is when it's very important to have an adequate company firewall. As we've learned, firewall solutions available for companies are either software or hardware with software components. Software firewalls protect each individual computer that they're installed on, but to protect all of the company's computers, each must have the software installed. That can get expensive and difficult to maintain. On the other hand, hardware-based firewall solutions for business protect all computers on your network. They are also far easier to administer as well. The ideal firewall solutions for business integrate a hardware firewall with software controls into a comprehensive security solution that includes virtual private network support, antivirus, anti-spyware, and content filtering capabilities. Firewall solutions for companies offer comprehensive security and many other benefits. Among these are support for changing business needs. The best firewall solutions for business let you safely deploy new applications. They provide advanced application layer security for a wide range of applications, including email, voice over IP, video, and multimedia programs. Also, it allows for controlled access to your company's resources. The most effective firewall solutions for business block unauthorized access to applications or information assets. Companies also get increased employee productivity. By blocking unauthorized access from hackers, your firewall helps prevent the loss of employee productivity and valuable company data. Lastly, it allows for improved business resiliency. The best firewalls prevent disruption of business critical applications and services due to security breaches. It is very important that companies set up security policies. Security policies are rules that are electronically programmed and stored within security equipment to control areas like access privileges. Of course, security policies are also written or verbal regulations by which an organization operates. And it doesn't matter whether you're setting up a local area network, a virtual LAN, or a wide area network. It's always important to initially set the fundamental security policies. Companies must also decide who is responsible for managing and enforcing these policies, and to determine how employees are informed of these rules and watchguards. And finally, company security rules are essentially useless if all the involved parties do not know and understand them. It is very important to have effective mechanisms in place for communicating existing policies, policy changes, new policies, and security alerts regarding impending viruses or attacks. I'm going to end my part with a real-world example. This example is a services startup, Ramco Incorporated, and they invested in integrated security to entice mobile business customers. They used a Cisco Smart Business Communication System had built-in secured internet access, firewall, intrusion prevention, and even provides voice, video, and data services. The system provided benefits for the company, such as a competitive advantage due to reliable, fast, and secure connections, revenues from secure Wi-Fi access, document management, and conferencing services. Also, high customer loyalty and trust from protecting the privacy of their data sent over the internet.
All right, this is Michelle, and I'm going to wrap up our firewall discussion. So what do we know? Firewall serves two primary purposes. First, it protects your computer systems and networks from malicious activities coming across the internet connections. Second, it also provides a computer network administrator control over those type of communications that should be conducted over those internet connections. Courtney told us that a firewall is a software program or piece of hardware that helps screen out hackers, viruses, and worms that try to reach your computer. We need firewalls to protect our confidential data. Christine shared the three different types of firewalls, which are packet level, application level, and network address translation. The packet level examines the source and destination address that are in each network packet as it passes through the firewall. The application level searches for known attacks by searching through the contents application layer. The NAT firewall translates the private IP address by using an address table. Daniel discussed the functions used to control traffic flowing through the network via proxy service, packet filtering, and stateful inspection. The proxy server hides a true network address, and the firewall is the first line of defense in protecting private information. Nick talked about how companies use firewalls and their security rules. In these situations, a firewall can be programmed with specific, customized rules that restrict employees from visiting websites that are unrelated to business goals or pose security risk.
The packet filter is an extension of the static packet filter. The packet filter examines the network header and a part of the transport header of the data packet. It checks the source and destination IP addresses in the network header. It also checks the transport protocol TCP or UDP of the data packet and the source and the destination port numbers in the transport header. In order to provide state awareness, the packet filter also maintains a table of connection streams called the connection bypass table. The connection filter validates a connection before allowing the packet to pass into the network. It examines the network header and the transport header of the data packet. When a packet arrives at the connection filter, the latter examines certain fields within the network and the transport headers of the packet. The fields examined within the network header are source IP address, destination IP address. The fields examined within the transport header are source port number, destination port number. For the TCP connection, in addition to the above fields, the connection filter also examines the SYN and the ACK flags and the sequence numbers involved in the TCP handshaking process. This helps the connection filter to verify the validity of the connection that is being established. A connection filter is a step up. The application filter is a firewall that analyzes the content and structure of the data payload before forwarding the packets inside the firewall. Because the application filter examines the entire data, it has to serve the connection between the outside host and the inside host. The application filter examines the network header, the transport header, and the application header of the data packet. The application filter runs proceeds to analyze the content of a data packet. This proxy simply observes the connection passing through the filter and looks for abnormalities in these connections. The application filter would allow the packets generated by only those services like HTTP, FTP, whose proxies are running on it. Let us discuss about virus protection. A computer virus is a term applied to any program designed to damage data stored on a computer system or network. The affected data may include documents, photographs, application, or worst of all, system files that are vital to the proper operation of the computer system. The virus is written by an ill-intentioned computer programmer and spread to other systems by means of email, floppy disk, or downloaded software. A computer virus is a program written to enter into computer system surreptitiously and infect it by installing or modifying files or establishing itself in memory. Some viruses are benign and will not harm your system, while others are destructive and can damage or destroy your data. The Trojan horse is a very apt name for a particularly nasty type of virus. Although technically not a virus, a Trojan horse is in many ways a more important trait to be aware of. A Trojan horse must be installed in a computer to become effective. Worms have the ability to replicate themselves and generally do not require human interactivity to do so. They may be designed to email themselves to other computers. Worms copy themselves from computer to computer rather than file to file like most viruses, and because they require no human help to do so, they can spread much more rapidly through a system than a normal virus. Zombies may remain dormant on your computer system for an extended period of time. They are normally programs used by hackers in a coordinated attack on a system, whereby the hacker triggers the zombie to aid his or her attack on a system or network. The number one rule is to always be aware of unsolicited emails, especially ones of an unsavory nature, such as pornography-related emails. Any executable exe files should not be opened unless one trusts the sources. There is only of type of computer user that does not require antivirus software to be installed. Those that have no internet connection do not share floppy disks or zip disks with anyone, and if they live in a remote log cabin, that might help also. For the rest of us, one really should go out straight away and buy some decent software. There are many brands available at good prices. All provide similar functions at various levels of success. Antivirus software resides in the active memory of the computer and takes control of it to alert to an active virus present on the machine. If the software cannot repair the infected file, it will quarantine this file or give you the option of safely deleting the file. While not as immediately important as antivirus software, if you are serious about your security and protecting your privacy online, you might consider buying a firewall. Firewall software acts as a secure barrier between your computer and the outside world. It monitors all traffic to and from your computer and decides whether or not this is normal internet activity or an unauthorized security risk. Now let us discuss about email monitoring. Email monitoring tools can track both the health of the email serving application itself and that of the server on which the application runs. Email monitoring helps email administrators keep email flowing in complex network environments. Knowing what is going on with your email communication is vital. Here are 9 reasons to implement email monitoring. Quickly find out who or what is using up all your disk space. Server monitoring and can tell you when a volume is running low on space, but email monitoring can tell you why and who the worst offenders are. Whether teams are using email to share files back and forth, or someone is passing a video file around, email monitoring can help you bring users back into compliance with company policy and best practices. Map the communications within and outside your organization. Sometimes it's not who is sending all the email, but to whom that is important. Whether you experience turnover or just have a key employee on PTO, being able to quickly and accurately report on the key communication channels enables someone else to quickly get up to speed. Confirm SLAs. Your customer service team and your help desk both have service level agreements and owe customer, external or internal, timely response to inquiries. Email monitoring will enable you to easily confirm that SLAs are being met or to identify areas needing improvement. Identify those outliers. SLA are critical, but sometimes meeting them can provide challenging when there's a handful of users who need more than the normal amount of care and attention. Use email monitoring to identify those who need that extra attention so you can address training or offer additional services. Help ensure that business is getting done. While personal use of company email is probably not against the rules, like many privileges, it can be abused. Email monitoring can flag those users who spend a little too much time on personal email, so you can address this before it becomes a problem. Validate the need for email archiving. Email monitoring can quickly and easily identify email hoarders and list out whom they are, how much email they are hoarding, and how old those emails are. This data makes it easy to size the email archiving solution and create email retention policies. Quickly find sinkhole accounts. Almost every email system has mailboxes that still accept email, but that no one actively monitors. Email monitoring let you find these so that customer emails, critical notification, and other key communication do not get lost. Help maintain professionalism. Email monitoring can flag inappropriate or slang language in email communication so that manager can address standards of communication with their department where necessary. Protect your intellectual property. Whether users are forwarding company email to their personal account just so they can use their personal devices to read email, or because they are creating a cache of key information to take with them to their next job, you want to make sure that your email system is not leaking data. Now we will discuss about security code. It is an important new internet security feature that now appears on the back of most Visa, MasterCard, JCB, Switch, Solo cards, and on the front of American Express cards. This new code is a 3 or 4 digit number which provides a cryptographic check of the information embossed on the card. The security code helps validate that the customer placing the online order actually has the credit card in his or her possession and that the credit card or debit card account is legitimate. The security code is only printed the card and it is not contained in the magnetic stripe information, nor does it appear on sales receipt or billing statements. You must have the card in your possession in order to use this code. Card security codes are not raised, so they are not scanned into standard credit card readers. In theory, these numbers are only visible. The card holder, when one gives card security code to a merchant, assists the merchant in verifying that the order is being placed by him. The card holder also, it is illegal for merchants to keep records of one security code in any way. Merchants are only allowed to keep the security code for as long as it takes to bill order. Once billing is complete, there must be no records of the code. Neither database storage nor physical document storage is allowed. BMT Micro follows these restrictions to the full extent. Let us discuss about biometric security. Security biometric is the science of using physical characteristics, fingerprints, eyes, hands to identify a person, and some of the products used in this system include fingerprints readers and retinal scanners. When considering security biometric, one wants to have physical characteristics that are not constant and do not change over time and are also difficult to fake or change on purpose. There are a variety of ethical concerns that have been raised over the use of security biometric, and some of which are: some biometric methods such as retina scans are intrusive. Gathering of some biometric information like fingerprints is usually associated with criminal behavior. You may feel a loss of privacy or personal dignity, especially when the information is gathered by large institutions such as the military or police. You may feel embarrassed if you are rejected by a public censor. Automated facial recognition that is used in public places could be used to track your movements without your knowledge or consent. Now in the end, let us summarize what we have learned in this lecture. 3 basic security concepts important to information on the internet are confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Encryption can also be applied to an entire volume or drive. A firewall is defined as any device or software used to filter or control the flow of traffic. Viruses spread via any of the methods used to get information into the computer. Network connection, shared folders, email, and shared media such as flash memory, CDs, and diskettes. Email monitoring tools track both the health of the email serving application itself and that of the server on which the application runs.